Hi everyone, the Lone Wolf here, and welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. I'm a few days late, but merry belated Christmas. I hope everyone enjoys the holidays, and of course my very best wishes to all the viewers for 2015. I hope you'll stick around, and obviously this is the last EVE Talk of the year, but I'm planning to keep going in full force in 2015 as well. So let's hope that we can keep enjoying the market in EVE Online the way I've actually been able to maintain it for an entire year, so that's not bad. Let's jump right in here with all those festivities. I may need to try and focus a little bit. Let's start right off the bat with plex, and that is 50 seconds. 50. That's actually my pen that's breaking there. Very nice, I think. This is the 6-month chart, but I'm sure that you would like to see the market data. Look at that, 794, 600, so around 795 million for a plex. Not bad. Breaking 800 million. That's pretty good. Supply seems to still be decent. Look at that here, 12, 4, 7, 2, 3, 2. All of those pretty recent orders for lower and lower prices. They're being cut in decent chunks too. Here it's 800 million, 799, 795, 794, 8, 794, 6. So yeah, plexes are going down. Amazing. Is this finally really that winter expansion effect that's starting to kick in? Is supply coming back into the plex market? It would be very good news, of course. Here is the 1-month chart starting well, probably just after reaching 900, and here now below 800 million on the final data point. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. 775 for buy orders. It's been a long time since we've seen that, and of course now the question is, how long is this going to last? Will this downtrend be able to maintain itself or not? If you look at the rest of the bottom of the screen there, I think if this is a lot, if this has a lot to do with investment opportunity, there are better things to put your ISK in at the moment than plex, which seems to be going down. A lot of other stuff, even Caldari fuel blocks, have been going up for a few weeks with decent percentage points. Tritanium still going up, 630, that's a new high. Megasite doing a nice little jump there as well. So I think the investors are looking at other opportunities than plex at the moment, and that is part of why plexes are going down. Of course, the sales, you know, they have a lot to do with this as well. People are taking the chance to buy plexes for cheap from CCP, bring them to the market, providing them with a good chunk of ISK. But if I once again go for the 6-month chart, it's a serious decline from a very high top, which is very similar to what we've seen like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when it comes to plexes and a winter expansion or a winter release. So I think there is still a chance that this will actually maintain its momentum, and that plexes will actually continue to decline over the course of the rest of the year at least, and then maybe even a few months into the next year, which I think would be pretty damn good for anyone that wants to plex their accounts or wants to use plexes for like training a second character and stuff like that. The new normal is of course going to be quite a bit higher than like 500, 600, which was the bottom last time we had a serious decline after a winter expansion. I think that's normal. You can do a lot more with plex since then, but it's nice to see that instead of heading towards the 1 billion price mark, we're actually heading down and breaking 800 million. So is this going to be sustained? You can never be sure. You know, the sales, they're always small time frames where plexes do decline, and after that market forces tend to take over. And well, below 800 million, I'm actually pretty sure that there is some demand there. But as I've said, if you're a savvy investor, I do think you can find better opportunities than plexes at the moment. Yeah, let's jump right into minerals then. Let's see if maybe we can find some of those. Here is tritanium, and we'll put down 4 minutes 40 for that. Tritanium, after a nice big jump up here, which was the Iceboxer announcement, been able to maintain pretty good. Now it's actually at 630, so right at the top of that chart once again. So 625 for the sellers, a couple people came in here, but then it's 628, very small order, and then we've got 634, 635, 636 for the first big numbers in supply right there, so that's not bad. When it comes to demand though, here 460, 470 at 612, 613, and then 617, a big oh my god, 2 billion. For a moment there it looked like supply demand might be much more in line with one another, but nope, here we've got 2 billion coming in. It's in another station, I think, range station, yeah, it's in another station, but it's going to have an impact on the rest of the buy orders, I do think. So that's interesting. That's pretty unusual as well. Could this be a little bit of like manipulation, trying to keep titanium going up? I think that's possible. There is some psychological effect to this. I do think people will constantly see this huge buy order of 2 billion units being at the top, and it's going to fill up quite a bit slower than if the buyer would have put it in the JITA station itself, in JITA 4.4. And so this could be trying to create a floor that's not really there. Interesting, very, very interesting. But it does show that there is still a little bit more demand than supply. And so, yeah, it could go up just a little bit in the next week or so, I do think, because of that order, or in the next few days. So here we can see, though, pretty stable after the big jump up there. But managing to maintain 6.2 to 6.3 ISK, I think, is not bad for HiSec miners. Let's have a look at the 1 month pyrite chart here. Also going up very nicely. 12.6 was apparently like a top for last week. Now it's correcting back just a little bit, but still the 1 month trend is pretty clear. And 12.29 for the sellers, 12.23 for the buyers, so it corrected back a little bit. There is more supply than demand here now for the pyrite market. 300,000, 145,000. These are much bigger numbers than all of the buyers. Of course, this one person buying a stack of 100 is also causing a little bit of a disruption here, but I have to go down quite a bit to find 300,000 here, and then quite a bit more to like 10.8 for 500 and 800,000. So supply is taking over. This could probably correct a little bit, but maybe maintain itself above 12 ISK. I think that's a possibility, which I still think is a reasonable price for pyrite. Let's have a look at Mixalon next. Yeah, okay, not doing badly either. 62.5, 62 ISK, something like that for Mixalon. The month is up again for HiSec Mineral, so that's not bad. 63.30 to 63.50 even for the sellers, so not bad at all. The buyer 61.50, so pretty small margin there, but again 50 million, 23 million here, 70 million here, 21 million, 45 million, a little bit more supply than demand coming in on the Mixalon market as well, which I think is going to cause the price to maybe slow down a little bit, go down just a touch. But again, I do expect Mixalon to be able to maintain above 60 ISK no problem, which honestly it's not that bad. If I go for like a 1 year chart for Mixalon, you've had to do with less than 50 ISK for quite a bit, so I honestly think that this is not bad. 60 ISK for HiSec miners, pretty good price. Next up is Isogen here, also up for the month, stalling a little bit at the end. And if you look at supply demand here, let me have a look here, 11, 18, 12, 12 million, gotta go quite a bit lower for 10 million, so a bit more supply than demand coming in at these prices. It's going to start to stall, maybe correct just a little bit, but it doesn't feel like huge oversupply just yet, so I'm not expecting a crash. Isogen well above 120, I think it will be able to maintain that, maybe even 125, something like that. That's my expectation for next week. I do think we'll start to see a little bit of a pullback, because I'm seeing more supply than demand in pretty much all of them. And so I do think that the entire market is going to start to come at a point where the market forces of the week, you know, if there's more supply, prices are going to go down a little bit. If there's suddenly a bit more demand because of a few alliances deciding to build a few capital ships or something like that, it's going to go back up a little bit. But I do think there's a good chance that it's going to start to meander around the current price point. So that's pretty interesting. Next up, I'll start with Megasite. because we've seen that on the chart, on the bottom part of the screen there, it didn't do too badly, up like a few percentage points. But if you look at the 1 month chart, it's actually just maintaining 800 ISK. Let's have a quick look here. 831 for the sellers, 786 for the buyers, and so it does look like it's not going up, except for what you saw right there on the chart on the bottom part of the screen. 831, the sellers went up, the buyers maintained pretty much, and so it looks like Megasite went up, but it's actually not doing so that drastically. The chart is clearly showing that Megasite is still on a sideways movement, which honestly it could just be like pretty much Megasite finding the bottom. If I go for a 3-month chart, you can again see the Iceboxer change announcement, which basically just pushed the bottom that it was on from 700 ISK to 800 ISK, and so below that people just snag them up very quickly, and above that people just wait and see if they can't get Megasite at a better price closer to 800 ISK. And so yeah, it's a little bit confusing maybe with what's seen on the bottom part of the screen, but that's just because the sellers have moved up their price, but I don't think that the market is actually following. They're just saying, okay, I'll just try putting up another buy order, or I'll wait for someone to come in with a lower sell order, and so despite the fact that you're seeing up 4%, it's not actually that. It's more, yeah, it's something a little bit more tricky than that. Let's have a look at the Sideline market here. Yeah, pretty much in a similar situation. It knew a spike up at the announcement, but then it's already back down to 440. So previous bottom 420, something like that. It touched it a few times, but now 440. And yeah, still looking very, very low. Here again, I do think the margin is up a little bit, for 438 for the buyers, 453 for the sellers. So if I would have done the same analysis as in Megasite, it would have looked like Sideline went up like a few 10 ISKs, but that's not actually what happened. It's just a margin coming back to a bit of a more healthy situation. If I'm not mistaken, last week or the week before that, we had extremely low margins in these Nelsec minerals. So let's also touch on Noxium then, 586 to 605. And here again you can see that after hitting the bottom below 540, we're now looking at a bottom of around 600 ISK for Noxium, where it's just going to start to yeah, just hang around that price point for some reason. I'm not really sure why this huge oversupply seems to be happening, but it does seem to be happening. Look at that. The latest sell order is almost 4 million units, and you have to go to all the way to the bottom of the buyers to find that a similar sized buy order. So there's still really big supply of all of these minerals coming in. They may be reserves from somewhere, but it's actually been going on for quite a while now. So I do wonder how all of this works. Is it because there hasn't been a major war in Nelsec in a while? You would have thought that the changes to the jump ranges and stuff like that may have like slowed all of this down a little bit, because people would still would try to create some local markets a little bit, but no, stuff just floods into JITA. And yeah, at the moment there's just more supply than demand, and all of these Nelsec minerals, they're doing quite badly, honestly, historically speaking. Megasite at like 800, I mean, it's been double the price for quite a while, a few years ago. So that was a normal, you know, 1500, 1600 for Megasite was the normal price, and now 800, and it just doesn't seem to stop, because Megasite is still flooding in. Look at that here, 3 million units coming in. A very recent order. Here we've got 50 million, but that's 770 ISK. That's really that's very opportunistic, to say the least. But I do think at some point people will just dump it to these sell orders, because the consensus price, the market price of 800 is, well, it's closer to the buyers than it is to the sellers. So yeah, pretty interesting market, but it's very low, and it's at the bottom, I think. So this could be a good time to actually stock up if you want to do this like medium or even long term, because there is no telling and I don't really know what's behind these extremely low prices, and there is no telling what's going to finally stop that. Maybe a huge war is a possibility, but honestly there is some conflict in Nasdaq at the moment, and it doesn't seem to have impacted this in any major way. So yeah, very low Nasdaq mineral prices at the moment, and no sign of these going away anytime soon. Let's take a look at the impact on Tech1 chips then. 1510, well, I've really stuck with the mineral market quite long, but okay, it's the final episode of the year anyway, so we could go for a nice in-depth analysis. Unfortunately for Tech1 chips, no need for an in-depth analysis. All of this is pretty much flat for like 6 months or so. Here is the Caracal, nice spike up, but you can see that the correction over the week is starting to set in. It's going down a little bit. Current prices for Caracal 10.7 million, and you can see that the supply reaction is right there. 125, 14, 48, 56, 31, those are the latest orders. So supply is ready to come in. This price is going to go down towards it medium of 10.5 million for a Caracal. So this reaction, although it's a little bit slower than what I would have thought, I would have thought the chart to already be a bit lower than this already. It is obviously there, you know. We're not going to see, unless someone decides to all of a sudden buy 300 Caracals to produce a few fleets of them. This is actually going to go down towards its normal for like 6 months or so. Here is the Dominic's chart. If I go for a 6-month chart, you can see that 190 million has been pretty much a normal price for Dominic's, and it's right there on the money. Again, you see a nice little spike here with a supply correction, you know, supply coming in, just like what we've seen in the Caracal just happening now. And then, yeah, basically hanging around to 190, which is normal price for the Dominic's. Here is the Drake then, starting at around 48, ending just above 48. It's been below that for quite a bit. The Drake is maybe a bit of an outlier in the sense that it's not considered a really good chip anymore. It used to be so much better, and that could be why the chart is hanging closer to 47 million or something like that, with what could look like two high points at the beginning 6 months ago and right now. But honestly, none of this is dramatic. The scale of this chart is very small, from anything between 44 and 49 million. That's like 10% margin between the highest buying and the lowest. So it's really nothing to write home about. This is pretty much a stable market. Next up is the Myrmidon. Again, you know, couple lows, couple highs, but on average a Myrmidon for 50 million is what you can expect. And here again, if I go for the 1 month chart, you can see a nice little jump up from, well, 49 below the 50 million to 54, and now it's starting to go down. And are we seeing big supply? Look at that, 11, 11, 12, 40 of them coming in right there. So the supply is there. It will bring this price back down to a more normal 50 million for the Myrmidon. Just takes a little bit for the market to, yeah, basically work its way through all of this. And here the rupture is taking off a little bit. If I go for a 6 month chart, yeah, it is breaking its normal of like around 10 million for a rupture. But if I go for supply demand, then, well, the reaction is already here. Look at that, that's very recent, less than 2 hours ago. 38 and 32 people noticed it's above 11 million, and they're bringing their ruptures right to the market. So this should already start to come back by next week. And here is the Talos markets, bit of a personal interest, because I have a perfect Talos BPO, which I got like right at the start when Talos came out. And again here, 72 million for a Talos. Nice little spike right here, nice little correction with big supply coming in, trying to take advantage of more than 80 million for a Talos, crashing the market back down to 68 and then back up to 72, which is a normal price, where honestly for the last 6 months we've been hanging right around there. So Tech1 ship market, very healthy, and able to react to people trying to either buy out the market, create big fleets, but also reacting normally with people saying, okay, you know, the Talos crashing down to 68 will slow things down a little bit, let's get the price back up to a more normal 72 million. And then just hanging around that. So very nice to see, I think, because it provides people with the necessary stability to actually, yeah, go out there and lose some cruisers lose some battle cruisers, they know exactly what kind of ships they lose. And if the entire Tech 1 market would go way up for some reason, you know, people might think about all of that differently. So I think it's good for the game to have a very stable baseline of Tech 1 ships. Next up, Tech 2. Let's see if we can find some trade opportunities. 1945 for that one. Last week we saw a couple good ones with one of the logistics. I think here the Basilisk finally coming back down towards 170, so that's a nice little spike that we could have taken advantage of a few weeks ago. But at the moment it looks to me like it's already going back up a little bit. 175 for the sellers, 170 for the buyers. Just still a little bit too high. I would like to see Basilisk a little bit lower on the buy orders before I would invest in that. Closer to 160 I think would be good. Next up here, the Guardian, pretty low here, 135 after, well, 3 nice spikes in the last 6 months, coming off a 4th one right there, exactly 6 months ago. Maybe in the buy opportunity range, I think, you know, 135 is pretty much a bottom. Buyers 133, not that many of them. I think there's opportunity right there. Next up, the Hound here, ooh, very nice, going down towards 18 million after a nice little spike. We've known 2 other ones over the last 6 months, so it does show the opportunity. Manticore, try to sell those, but you can see from the data points that it's going back down very hard at the moment. So 22 million, 38, 27, 26. Obviously we're past the sell opportunity. Honestly, I'd be on the lookout for really low price again, breaking 20 million and maybe being able to pick that up. But yeah, the buyer's still a little bit high, so it's right in between, right after a big spike right here for the Manticore market. So you're a bit late to sell, and you would be a bit too early to buy here. Here is the Nemesis going back towards 20 million, buy orders at 19.2. That's starting to be okay, you know, 19.3, 19.4. You could probably pick up a few Nemesis for that. You've had sell opportunities as high as 28 million in the last 6 months, but 23 million, something like that, 22, 23, I think is something, if you look out for it, that's a possibility. Next up, the Nighthawk, 1 command ship going back up again. So I've not seen command ships be low enough to say, okay, we'll start investing in that again. And Nighthawk taking off again but it's from 265 to 275. Percentage wise, that's still too low, too slow. I'm not liking the command ship market at the moment, which has been really good 1 and 2 years ago. Next up, the Oneros, a little bit too close to its average of 160. Buyers are at 157, but I'd say maybe wait a little bit lower. You know, as you can see right there, below 150 was a trigger, below 150 was a trigger. Be careful right there. Next up, the Purifier coming off of a high here as well. You're probably late for the sell again, which was last week, and too early for a buying opportunity. But you know, we've had 2 stealth bombers where last week you really could have made your move if you had bought some at very low prices. And then finally here, the Scimitar. That's a lot more interesting. Lowest price point in 6 months, 137 to the buyers, 140 for the sellers. If you can pick them up at these buy orders close to 137, I think you're doing very good business on the Scimitars. This is very interesting because it's extremely low right here. Look at those spikes in the last 6 months. Opportunity at 107, opportunity at 175, opportunity at 160, and now you can buy them close to 137. I think that this Scimitar chart right there, it breeds opportunity, honestly. Pretty interesting. Next up, the Tech 3 markets, 2340. For that, we'll start right away with the Confessor. I think a lot of people will be interested in that chart going below 0.1 billion. So 91 million for the sellers, pretty good. 81 million for the buyers. We are very quickly coming towards normal Confessor prices. This is affordable for a Tech 3 destroyer. I think you can afford to lose that. You know, it's less than 100 million, and it's going to go down even further. I think normal production costs were averaged at like 56 to 60 million, something like that. So it's still going to go down. But yeah, the people that sold the very first ones, of course, were very lucky. But as expected for the Tech Tree ships, production lines are ready and the confessor is going to find its normal price very soon. I think just a few weeks into the new year, and I actually think we'll start to hit normal prices for the confessor. In fact, the buy orders are competing pretty hard above 80 million still. And so it could actually be that the normal price for a while will be 80 million, which I think is still a pretty decent margin on the confessor. Next up, the Legion. Well, that's empty once again. 219 is that one still going up for the Legion right there. Although the numbers here are not bad, 8 and 7. Yeah, someone bought all the Legions from the market and they're going up. Here's the Loki. 207, but 16, 10, 16. So supply is starting to come here, to come in for the Loki. So that is going to start to stall. Next up, the Proteus chart right there. Oh my god, Proteus taking off. Oh, that is not bad. Someone bought, oh my god, 283 million for Proteus. We've not seen that in a very long time, like at least a few years, maybe even 3 years ago. I've seen Tech Trees close to this price, but Proteus for 283. That is extreme. That is extreme. That's very nice. If you have the opportunity to produce some Proteus, or if you have some that you want to sell laying around, I do think that this is a good opportunity to make a few hundred million off of that. You could have bought them for close to 120 like 6 months ago. So yeah, pretty awesome right there for the Proteus. Unfortunately, the Tengu, that one's already going down here. And the reason, 58, 12, 14, that supply, it is there. So I do think, honestly, that by next week supply is going to start filling for the other Tech Tree cruisers as well. And that all of them are a little bit delayed compared to what the Tengu is doing, and that this will materialize. So my reading of the Tech Tree market is that someone with a really big wallet, or maybe a few alliances, made their moves on Tech Tree ships, decided, well, we're gonna buy them in preparation for a big war or whatever. The price spiked up in accordance, but I do think that this will not last. I do think all of this will correct with pretty big supply numbers ready to come in here from the producers. It's going to slow down because of the confessor. People are still putting a lot of effort and time into those, but I do think it is going to happen. These three, the Legion, the Loki and the Proteus, I think are going to start to correct together with the Tengu. So yeah, pretty interesting Tech Tree market, man. That Proteus one really caught me off guard there. Almost 300 million for a Proteus. That has been very long since we've seen that. And now for the extra material, the extra product, I'll check 27, 25. For that one, I will check control towers because I noticed something pretty weird about those. So structures, star-based structures, control towers. Let's start, and right here we can see, look at that, a Mar control tower over 6 months going from 220 with a spike ending right here at 340. That's a 50% increase in price for the large control tower. Pretty interesting. Here is the medium one, pretty much sideways, 120 to 130, and then the small one right there starting at 60, ending at 75, but up with a big spike at the tail end again. And this is honestly something that I've seen repeated right here. Caldari control tower, look at that, starting at 230, ending at 290. Pretty big increase in price, and going up right there as well, with a pretty big spike here from 260 jump up to 290, managing to maintain right here. Then the medium one up a little bit, but not as drastically, and then here the small one do a little bit of spiky behavior as well, but all control towers seem to have gone up. Here's another Galanti control tower right there. Look at that spike right there, starting at, well, let's say 230, and let's end up at 280. Pretty big increase in price here. Medium one up a little bit, but not as drastically, and then the small one, ooh, here again another spike up right there. Minotaur control tower up from 240 to 260. Well, not up that much, so Minotaur not that popular. Here's the Minotaur medium one from 120 to 135, and then the Minotaur small control tower working on a double spike here again. I think this is pretty interesting, especially how the Amar large control tower and the Caldari large control tower have gone up in price very significantly. I do think that this is partly the impact of people being able to put bosses up anywhere in HiSec. So HiSec is, I think, littered with bosses now, including inactive ones. But maybe the increase in value from C1 to C3 wormholes with the new relic and data sites there has convinced people to actually put up a large boss in those as well. I think that could be why large bosses have gone up so much, because, well, it's easier to fuel those even in something like a C1 wormhole, and it's a total pain in the ass to get rid of something like a large control tower in one of those wormholes. Despite the fact that the fuel costs are 4 times what a medium tower is. Yeah, large control towers have been very popular in the last few months, it seems, with very big increases in prices there. And so if you can produce those, I mean, that's a significant increase right there. Have the costs gone up? That's a possibility as well, but I can't really remember something like that. So yeah, Kaldari control tower, Amar control tower, the large ones, up quite a lot. Look at this Amar one, 220 to 340. That's really quite a lot, and a nice little double spike right here at the tail end. So very interesting behavior, very strong behavior in the last few months on pretty much all of the control towers, and a general trend for 6 months up quite a lot, especially a few of the popular large control towers. I thought it was pretty interesting right there. Maybe an opportunity for people that want to get into industry and don't really know what to make. Well, have a look at control towers. If you can figure all of that out, I think you will find that some of them will have a decent margin, I think. So yeah, there you go, guys. That's it for this final EVE Talk of the year. Again, thank you very much for watching, and of course I'll see you all in the next one. Hi everyone, the Lone Wolf here, and welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the market in EVE Online. I'm a few days late, but merry belated Christmas. I hope everyone enjoys the holidays, and of course my very best wishes to all the viewers for 2015. I hope you'll stick around, and obviously this is the last EVE Talk of the year, but I'm planning to keep going in full force in 2015 as well. So let's hope that we can keep enjoying the market in EVE Online the way I've actually been able to maintain it for an entire year, so that's not bad. Let's jump right in here with all those festivities. I may need to try and focus a little bit. Let's start right off the bat with plex, and that is 50 seconds. 50. That's actually my pen that's breaking there. Very nice, I think. This is the 6-month chart, but I'm sure that you would like to see the market data. Look at that, 794, 600, so around 795 million for a plex. Not bad. Breaking 800 million. That's pretty good. Supply seems to still be decent. Look at that here, 12, 4, 7, 2, 3, 2. All of those pretty recent orders for lower and lower prices. They're being cut in decent chunks too. Here it's 800 million, 799, 795, 794, 8, 794, 6. So yeah, plexes are going down. Amazing. Is this finally really that winter expansion effect that's starting to kick in? Is supply coming back into the plex market? It would be very good news, of course. Here is the 1-month chart starting, well, probably just after reaching 900, and here now below 800 million on the final data point. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. 775 for buy orders. It's been a long time since we've seen that, and of course now the question is, how long is this going to last? Will this downtrend be able to maintain itself or not? If you look at the rest of the bottom of the screen there, I think if this is a lot, if this has a lot to do with investment opportunity, there are better things to put your ISK in at the moment than plex, which seems to be going down. A lot of other stuff, even Kaldari fuel blocks, have been going up for a few weeks with decent percentage points. Tritanium still going up, 630, that's a new high. Megasite doing a nice little jump there as well. So I think the investors are looking at other opportunities than plex at the moment, and that is part of why plexes are going down. Of course, the sales, you know, they have a lot to do with this as well. People are taking the chance to buy plexes for cheap from CCP, bring them to the market, providing them with a good chunk of ISK. But if I once again go for the 6-month chart, it's a serious decline from a very high top, which is very similar to what we've seen like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when it comes to plexus and a winter expansion or a winter release. So I think there is still a chance that this will actually maintain its momentum and that plexus will actually continue to decline over the course of the rest of the year at least, and then maybe even a few months into the next year, which I think would be pretty damn good for anyone that wants to plex their accounts or wants to use plexus for like training a second character and stuff like that. The new normal is of course going to be quite a bit higher than like 500, 600, which was the bottom last time we had a serious decline after a winter expansion. I think that's normal. You can do a lot more with plex since then, but it's nice to see that instead of heading towards the 1 billion price mark, we're actually heading down and breaking 800 million. So this is going to be sustained. You can never be sure, you know, the sales, they're always small time frames where plexus do decline, and after that market forces tend to take over, and well, below 800 million I'm actually pretty sure that there is some demand there. But as I've said, if you're a savvy investor, I do think you can find better opportunities than plexus at the moment. Yeah, let's jump right into minerals then. Let's see if maybe we can find some of those. Here is titanium, and we'll put down 4 minutes 40 for that. Titanium, after a nice big jump up here, which was the Iceboxer announcement, been able to maintain pretty good. Now it's actually at 630, so right at the top of that chart once again. So 625 for the sellers, a couple people came in here, but then it's 628, very small order, and then we've got 634, 635, 636 for the first big numbers in supply right there, so that's not bad. When it comes to demand though, here 460, 470 at 612, 613, and then 617, a big oh my god, 2 billion. For a moment there it looked like supply demand might be much more in line with one another, but no, here we've got 2 billion coming in. It's in another station, I think range station, yeah, it's in another station, but it's going to have an impact on the rest of the buy orders, I do think. So that's interesting. That's pretty unusual as well. Could this be a little bit of like manipulation, trying to keep titanium going up? I think that's possible. There is some psychological effect to this. I do think people will constantly see this huge buy order of 2 billion units being at the top, and it's going to fill up quite a bit slower than if the buyer would have put it in the JITA station itself, in JITA 4.4. And so this could be trying to create a floor that's not really there. Interesting, very, very interesting. But it does show that there is still a little bit more demand than supply. And so, yeah, it could go up just a little bit in the next week or so, I do think, because of that order, or in the next few days. So here we can see though, pretty stable after the big jump up there, but managing to maintain 6.2 to 6.3 ISK, I think is not bad for high-sec miners. Let's have a look at the 1 month pyrite chart here, also going up very nicely. 12.6 was apparently like a top for last week. Now it's correcting back just a little bit, but still the 1 month trend is pretty clear. And 12.29 for the sellers, 12.23 for the buyers, so it corrected back a little bit. There is more supply than demand here now for the pyrite market. 300,000, 145,000. These are much bigger numbers than all of the buyers. Of course, this one person buying stacks of 100 is also causing a little bit of a disruption here, but I have to go down quite a bit to find 300,000 here, and then quite a bit more to like 10.8 for 500 and 800,000. So supply is taking over. This could probably correct a little bit, but maybe maintain itself above 12 ISK. I think that's a possibility, which I still think is a reasonable price for pyrite. Let's have a look at Mixalon next. Yeah, okay, not doing badly either. 62.5, 62 ISK, something like that for Mixalon. The month is up again for high-sec mineral, so that's not bad. 63.30 to 63.50 even for the sellers, so not bad at all. The buyer 61.50, so pretty small margin there, but again 50 million, 23 million here, 70 million here, 21 million, 45 million, a little bit more supply than demand coming in on the Mexalon market as well, which I think is going to cause the price to maybe slow down a little bit, go down just a touch. But again, I do expect Mexalon to be able to maintain above 60 ISK no problem, which honestly it's not that bad. If I go for like a 1 year chart for Mexalon, you've had to do with less than 50 ISK for quite a bit, so I honestly think that this is not bad. 60 ISK for a HiSec miners, pretty good price. Next up is Isogen here, also up for the month, stalling a little bit at the end. And if you look at supply demand here, let me have a look here, 11, 18, 12, 12 million, gotta go quite a bit lower for 10 million, so a bit more supply than demand coming in at these prices. It's going to start to stall, maybe correct just a little bit, but it doesn't feel like huge oversupply just yet, so I'm not expecting a crash. Isogen well above 120, I think it will be able to maintain that, maybe even 125, something like that. That's my expectation for next week. I do think we'll start to see a little bit of a pullback because I am seeing more supply than demand in pretty much all of them, and so I do think that the entire market is going to start to come at a point where the market forces of the week, you know, if there's more supply, prices are going to go down a little bit. If there's suddenly a bit more demand because of a few alliances deciding to build a few capital ships or something like that, it's going to go back up a little bit. But I do think there's a good chance that it's going to start to meander around the current price point, so that's pretty interesting. Next up, I'll start with Megasite.